Welcome! We are going now to add some users in our network. As you can see here, I have defined users which are here and the sysadmin, that is the administrator of that environment. Here I have my users, and you see that I have the sysadmin, which we already talked about. We have a manager, we have user 1, 2, 3, and 4, which will relate to manager 1. We'll have a manager 2 with user 2.1, user 2.2, user 2.3, user 2.4 that relate to manager 2. These are the users we are going to create. Further on, we are going also to define groups in which we are going to place those users. In order now to have our users being created, I need to go to the server manager, open the tools, and within the tools, I will look for Active Directory, users, and computers. Once this is open, you can see that we have here the containers, and into those containers, you recognize here the user container. That user container is already filled with a lot of predefined users or groups. You recognize a user by having a single symbol of a single person. When you have two people, then it means it's a group. So as such, we can say that we already have here an administrator. You see that there is another user called Christian L. This is my own account here in this domain. And you can see here that we have different groups. For example, we have the domain users, which are here. This is a default group that is in all systems. And we have here the domain admins, which is also a default group for all admins. For the moment, I won't discuss all the other groups, but they are available and they are already there. And last point I want to mention is here you see the guest account. The guest account has a little arrow. That little arrow is simply telling that that guest account exists, but it is disabled. Now, I want to proceed by the construction of the account for user 1. So I right-click on users, I go to new, I select user, and here comes the form that I have to fill in. The first name of that user, I will leave it as user 1. Full name is still user 1. And you will see here the user 1 logon name, the username that will be used in the domain. That username will be prolonged by the @domain and extension. So it's user1@formation.local. Once this is done, we always have that reverse compatibility with pre-Windows 2000 environments, and the definition is user1, which means formation /user1, which is the domain / the name of the user. Once this is done, we switch and we go here to the point where we are going to define passwords. So for the user, I'm going to define a password. Here you can see that we as system admin, we don't like to know the usernames, and we don't like to have them stored in any way somewhere or being transmitted or sent by email. So we prefer the user that he is the only one to know his password when he is going to log on the next time. So we click this by saying user must change password at next logon. This is really important. Nevertheless, in my case, since it's a demo, I don't want the user to be forced to change its password. So I'm going to tick this off, and I'm going to do the following. I'm going to ask the password never to expire. So this is not really what we do usually, but here for the demo environment, it's what I choose to do. Once this is done, you will see that you have a reminder telling you that there is a new object of type user, full name is user1, logon name is user1@formation.local, and that the password will never expire. With this, I can say finish. And you see here that my account was refused because the password is too weak. So I have to go back change the password. Now, the password was a bit more complicated. I had to insert some punctuations and also numbers. With this, the user was created. You see here down, we have our user one. So if I want to do now some specific things, defining its profile and other things, I can do that in those different fields. You could enter here the address of the user, but I won't do that. Under account, we see that the user is defined. This is what we defined in the beginning. You will see that here we have logon hours, meaning that we could define that somebody works from 8 to 5 and is going to do this all year long and has done it already for years and is going to do it for years. So we could say, for example, we limit the login from 6 in the morning till 8 in the evening. This could be a case and just on weekdays and not on weekends. Here below you see that we have again the options. So whenever you want, you can decide that you can come back. You can define that the user cannot change the password or that the user must change password at next logon. This is possible. Another point that is also important, it's if the user has locked his account, you just come here to unlock the account. The locking of an account might happen after that the user has entered several times the wrong password. So it's here that we can unlock an account. About profiles, we can here define a pass to get a profile. This is interesting when we are logging from different machines. There could be a share somewhere where we find the profile. And the home folder is also something important. Usually I do the following. The home folder is where the user can store any personal information that he wants that will be backed and safe. Once this is set, you see that here you can also define the home folder as a share somewhere and being mounted as a drive. So this is also interesting when you have roaming profiles and roaming people logging in from different PCs. Other elements like telephones, organizations, this I usually don't fill, but it can be useful in many cases. So far it's done for the user. One last point, it's that the user, you have to see that in the beginning the user is anyway member of the user domain. So if now you wanted to give other possibilities to the user to be part of other groups, you could just add them here. And you can have different domain groups, for example. And you see, you could say that that user could be a domain admin, for example, or domain guest. So it's actually the system administrator that decides those points. Now we've created the first user, so we are going to create additional users. For that, I'm going to copy that user. And you see that immediately comes the possibility to create the second user. So it will be user 2, password, Now we have all our users that are defined accordingly to what we wanted. So we are done. this is the end of this part. In the continuing part, we are going to see how we handle groups and how we set specific properties to the users. So now you are able by yourself also to create users. So I wish you good luck and I hope to see you soon. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So have a good time. Bye.